Senator from California is recognized.
Thank you, Senator Durbin. I'm going to set the stage for my first question by sharing something that's probably not news to most people that are here in the room, but for the record, there has been an unprecedented number of arrests taking place over the last several weeks at immigration court dates, hearings, and regular check-ins. These arrests are specifically targeting immigrants who are trying to comply with our immigration laws, people who are showing up to have their day in court and present the evidence to a judge. This is the United States justice system, after all, where you get a fair shot to make your case in court. But instead, the Trump administration is sabotaging the right to due process. People who have active cases are having their cases totally dismissed, and when they walk out of that courtroom, ICE agents are waiting to arrest them and thrown into removal proceedings before they could ever make their case before a judge. This should raise alarm for everyone listening. People are being deprived of their day in court. This is no accident. It's a deliberate strategy to wash away the cornerstone of the U.S. Constitution just because due process is inconvenient for Trump's agenda. My question is for Ms. Brunet. How is this abuse of dismissals by ICE different from previous uses of dismissals? And is this a concerning change in practice, and why?
Thank you very much for the question. It is a drastic change from previous practice. So generally speaking, when a case is dismissed, that is seen as a finding that it's not worth pursuing, that the grounds that the government was charging may not be sufficient, or that you're going to provide the person with an opportunity to pursue another avenue. And so I think initially when people were receiving dismissals, there was some confusion or even sense of relief. I'll be able to pursue my asylum claim separately as an affirmative claim, perhaps. But instead, as you noted, people are immediately being arrested upon leaving the courtroom and charged with put through a different process of expedited removal, a faster sort of rocket docket of proceedings that provide less due process for people and don't provide them the opportunity to go through the process they had been prepared for. They're also resulting in these cases in immediate detentions, again, as you noted, upon leaving the courtroom. And many times this is resulting in separation from families, children who are present, and we're expecting to go through a normal process and so are traumatized by the process.
So what do these actions suggest in terms of President Trump and his administration's respect for due process?
It's disrespect for due process and basically deciding not to follow the procedures that don't fit with their agenda and making up their own.
Thank you. Speaking of due process, when a president ignores court orders, detains people without hearings, and uses made-up emergencies to get around the law, it's not just about immigration enforcement anymore. It raises real concerns about whether the basic constitutional rules that protect all of us are being dismantled. And if President Trump can take those rights from people he views as the most vulnerable or politically unpopular, what's to stop him from coming after anybody else next? Question for Ms. McCourt. In your view, how do these due process violations fit into a larger pattern of the administration trying to put itself above the law? And what does that mean for the rights of U.S. citizens going forward?
Well, certainly I think what we've seen is an escalation in failing to follow the proper due process procedures, oftentimes in the name of national security. I would say hiding behind this guise of national security. Call people terrorists, call them criminals, and maybe Americans won't care. They can be deported without notice. No one is going to call their senators. No one's going to protest because they're terrorists and criminals. But the label terrorists and criminals does not mean a person is a terrorist or a criminal. And that's why judges across the country have found, including our U.S. Supreme Court, that due process is a fundamental right. It's what our system of laws is built on. It's critical to the rule of law. And that's why 9 members of the Supreme Court have agreed that due process must be provided. I fear that this continued failure to follow due process in the name of national security will expand beyond where it has been so far.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chair.